Coming to you live from the 24 site news bunker, just a few short miles north of the bullshit blast radius at 1600 Pennsylvania. I'm Tom LoBianco, your special superhuman reporter with the unmitigated ability to call out complete bullshit and bring some clarity along the way. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it really is crap, but it's always our duty to be here. Thank you so much. Coming up on the show today in a little bit, Christine Matthews. Now, I'll tell you, there's two big Chris Matthews here in Washington, D.C. A lot of you folks might know Chris Matthews, the former host of Hardball, now here on Substack. I would argue, and maybe we can get both of them together, I would argue the more important Chris Matthews is Christine. Now, I've known her for many, many years. She has her finger on the pulse. She is one of the best pollsters I've ever come across. And much love to my boy, Michael Cohen. You guys, there might need to be some fisticuffs to figure this one out. Chris is incredible. Okay. She's going to be joining us here in a little bit. Reminder, if you're with us here live on Substack and live on YouTube at noon, drop in your comments. Ian Walters is here on the board. He will gather those up. We'll get to those at the end of the show. Always make sure to catch us at 8 p.m. on Political Voices Network. Sign up 24site.news and make sure to get the email and catch up on any shows that you might have missed. If you'd like to get in touch, drop me a note at tom@24site.news. No major stories today. All right. I'm not, yesterday was the rat-a-tat-tat. Went through 7 big stories to bring us up to speed. Now I'm going to pull out of the weeds a little bit. Let's fly at 30,000 feet and understand where we are right now, because there is a lot going on. It never really stops. I've been covering Trump since 2015. Now, almost half of my career. Something that we always used to say, right after the 2016 election is how nice it would be to get some sleep eventually. As you know, if you work in politics, pay attention to politics, if you're a fellow reporter, there is no such thing as that. And frankly, I don't know when that's going to end. And that's okay. That's fine. We're here. All right, we're doing this. We'll pull out of the weeds a little bit. Part of this is doing a marathon and understanding that you got to pace yourself. Otherwise, you're going to lose your mind doing this. So for today, I thought, let's try to divine a little bit. Let's try to discern why things are happening at the White House. What's the modus operandi here? I look at this in a traditional political sense. It's fascinating to me because if you look at Trump, for all of his bluster and for all of his clear abuses of power, certainly this time around, there is a key element to him which is very basic, which is very normal of any person in power, of any previous president. I was thinking about this as he worked with Netanyahu recently, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, to craft what might end up being a serious peace plan, ending what has now been, we're coming up on 2 years of the Israel-Hamas war. That is really astounding. If you think back to the beginning of this administration, it was not that long ago that the president of the United States was talking about developing high rises in Gaza, talking about developing beachfront property. 10 months later, he's talking about a peace plan. So what gives? How do we understand this? I think about Trump very often when we're not under siege, when, late night comedians are not being canceled by the president of the United States. I think of it in terms of what would any president be doing right now? And this is capital L legacy time. This is all about, look at the White House designs. Look at the gilding that's on there now. Hell, look at the gold plated fixtures along the Wall of Fame for every president. You can see it right next to the new photograph they put in for Joe Biden, which is the Joe Biden auto pen. You can see this in the new, what used to be the Rose Garden, which is now a Mar-a-Lago Country Club patio for wealthy donors. You can see it in the ballroom that will be built eventually. Is Trump going to leave in 2028? More than likely. Might he try not to leave? Good chance of that as well. We already had January 6th. But I pay attention to the actions. Forget the words. Pay attention to the actions here and look at it through the lens of, this is somebody who sees that in a realistic sense, he is running out of time to do what he wants. And clearly so much of this is just about what he wants. And look at it in terms of legacy. This is how we understand what might yet happen. All right. This is how we avoid the sombrero memes. This is how we avoid the fake medbed tweets. Look at it and see him through the lens of a normal person in power. That's how I approach it. I've been approaching it this way for a decade, and I think it'll help you guys as we try to, I mean, look, as I said before, this is a marathon. All right. We are in it. We don't have quote unquote sleepy Joe Biden anymore. And I think, beyond just the normalcy of it, I think some folks might pine for the ability to take a breather, the ability to not have to worry about this stuff. But it is where we are. Always think about this in terms of legacy, capital L legacy. All right. A reminder, if you got comments, drop them in there. If you're just joining us, coming up in a minute is pollster Christine Matthews. And she has some very interesting insights. She's the president of Bellwether Research, a longtime pollster. She has some very fascinating findings on who is going to determine potentially the fate of our country, potentially whether we're writing about the gilded White House in 1 year or whether we're writing about impeachment proceedings, nonstop impeachment proceedings. We talked about this here before. I want to read from the top of Politico Playbook, September 19th. Byline Adam Wren, my old friend out of Indiana. Playbook: weighted vest women are 2026 swing voters. Good pun in the writing. Wait for it. Ta-da. One of Republicans' most respected pollsters has identified an emerging group of swing voters who could help decide the 2026 midterms. Call them the weighted vest wearing women. They're already flooding your social media and neighborhoods, all while donning weighted vest. I've seen this. It's incredible. You know what? If I was a little bit thinner, I'd probably wear a weighted vest. I already got one though. All right. The latest fitness influencer fad of 2025. You don't have to look far to find them. They're covered on the pages of Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. That's the name. I still can't get over that. That is a thing. Don't name things Goop, people. Really, I don't know why people do this. And can be seen plenty of TikTok videos. Christine Matthews, the pollster for former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan's reelection campaign, Mitch Daniels' two campaigns, and the president of Bellwether Research, first saw women wearing weighted vests all over her upscale neighborhood in Alexandria, not too far from where I am right now. Matthews wanted answers to two simple questions: how many women were wearing weighted vests, and what were their politics? So she commissioned a poll of 1,000 women across the United States, the results of which she shared exclusively with Playbook. Well, now we get those answers now too. All right, guys. So let's bring on Chris.
Mm.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. How are you, Tom?
You know, another day in the apocalypse.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, dystopia. Hello.
You know, it could be worse.
Could be worse. Hard to imagine.
I mean, we could be forced to have, I don't know, nothing but Jay Leno on late night. All right, Jay Leno across all the networks, and that
Okay.
is a knock on Leno. That's
Okay.
what did these? So, okay, number one, tell us. Okay, for folks who don't know, and this is the intro I did at the top of the show. I said there are two big Chris Matthews here in Washington. Two big Chris Matthews. For my money, the most important one is right here, the one who
Oh.
matters the most. All right, I'm a huge fan of Chris Matthews hardball. Bigger fan of Chris Matthews with answers.
Oh, I thank you. I thank you. I've never met him my whole time in Washington. I've never met
Really?
him.
No kidding.
Well, it's funny. As a 25-year-old from Indiana, I came here and I wrote him a letter, I think. Gosh, back in the days where we wrote letters to people. And I said, hey, share your name, would love to meet you. And, he's a big deal, right? And I was not anything. But he
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I will grant thee, 10, 15 minutes or whatever. So I was all set to go meet with him. And then like 2 inches of snow fell in Washington. So I'm like ready to go. And then like his secretary was like, oh, the office is closed. And I was like, the office is closed for 2 inches of snow? Okay. And so I never did meet him.
What?
Yep, that's it.
I think we need to have a Chris Matthews summit.
Do you know him?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. I sat next to Chris up in New Hampshire last year. So Howard Mortman, Howard, the C-SPAN comms director, puts together a dinner every 4 years during the primary, and it was incredible. And lots of, I mean, the biggest folks in nerd politics. All right, J Mart
Mm.
was there. I got to sit next to Chris Matthews. Another legendary Hoosier, James Pindell, was there.
Mm.
He's from
Yeah.
Richmond. Yeah.
And
So
Steve Inskeep grew up in Indiana from NPR.
that's right. That's right. Legendary Inskeeps. I was talking with. Sorry, guys, you're going to get some. All
I
right.
know. We're going down the Hoosier rabbit hole here. Sorry.
I like to tell everybody that the Hoosier land is actually more weird, wild, and wonderful in many ways than many other states because you never expect it. All right.
Yeah,
I mean, Indiana gave us Kurt Vonnegut.
for sure. I mean,
You know,
Jane Pauley, who, she's not weird,
yeah.
but I really like her.
You don't have to be weird to be
John
excellent.
Mellencamp. I mean, I'm sure there's many more that we could.
The Mellencamp kids like to throw down at the bars around there. So I hear.
Mm.
I don't know if that's a distinctly Hoosier thing. Maybe that's I think, is he from Seymour,
Yeah.
Indiana? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was sitting next to Chris Matthews and just nerding out on everything. I mean, because he's a walking encyclopedia, right? Like the original Chuck Todd, if you will.
Yeah.
All right. And it was incredible. So we gotta get you. But I will say this. Okay, guys, Chris. I pump up Chris all the time. I mean, we've been working together for years. I mean, old enough to have live tweeted one of Mike Pence's State of the State addresses. All right, back when live tweeting was novel and when it was Twitter.
And when it was like a decent place to share thoughts.
Yes, before Mecha Hitler stormed the place.
Mm.
Just incredible. You've always had, and going back, I think back to the 2012 elections. And folks, if you're not already, check out Christine Matthews' Bellwether Research. I'll send this around after the show today. Her latest polling. All right, but Chris, you've always had, like, for my money, the best finger on the pulse of what people are thinking. I mean, you picked out those 2012 Indiana Senate governor races. The school superintendent, nobody saw this coming, and you had it on the button. All right. I mean, just incredible. Carry forward, easy to understand why folks like Larry Hogan rely on you. And I mean, how do you do this? I mean, without giving up all your trade secrets?
Well, okay. So here's the interesting thing, and you know this. I'm going to circle us back to the weighted vest data that
Mhm.
you're just talking about. So I love numbers and I love to get data, but I also pay a lot of attention to culture and
Mm.
pop culture, and I pay attention to people around me. So some
Hmm.
pollsters are like, you know, and they're like, I don't know. I feel like it's really important. So yeah, because it's like you're like a psychologist, sociologist, data scientist kind of thing. You have to
Yep.
figure out and be ahead of where people are going and what they're thinking.
Yes.
And you know, it's funny this weighted vest thing. Um, there's some there, you know, over on Blue Sky. I peek over there every now and then,
Mm.
and there were some progressives who were sort of saying some sniffy little things about it, like this is parody, right? And I'm thinking you could say that if you want to, and but if you're not paying attention to culture, if you're not paying attention to what people are doing, saying, and talking about, then that's your loss,
Yep.
you know? And, you know, you look at Trump going on Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, and, you know, the Democrats didn't. And, you know, did that make the difference? I don't know. But it was like he was in touch with the culture. And so, just for someone like me, who's both a pollster, but also a person in this world who looks around and sees things,
Mm.
you know, I was looking around and I was seeing all these women wearing these weighted vests. And I'm, you know, aware enough to know that my neighborhood is not representative of America per se.
Yeah.
You know, people have raincoats for their dogs here. So, I mean, I also do. But anyway, so, I mean, I needed some data, right? Like,
Hmm.
is this weighted vest thing real? Both because I was curious just to get a number, but
Hmm.
also it fits into a larger change in behavior that we're seeing. And this is how I like to do my work. I like to put the pieces of the puzzle together maybe before other people do, which is we're entering a real DIY era of healthcare, particularly for women. And Democrats are still where they have been, which is they maintain a lot of trust in institutions, doctors, vaccines, and authority figures. But Republicans and independents and the newest, youngest women, Gen Z women, are really moving away from that. So, what is it saying about where our politics may go when a significant chunk of women don't turn to the medical establishment and doctors for advice anymore? They do their own research. They aren't sure that vaccines are safe. I mean, we're seeing all of this pop up in popular culture. And so what I wanted to know with these weighted vest women were was are they like liberal progressive women, like those that populate my neighborhood and it's just a form of like Pilates and yoga? Or is it like, or are more women wearing this and it's more of a like a health thing? What is it? So yeah, I mean, weighted vests was kind of a catchy update to the soccer mom,
Yeah.
but the survey that we did overall has a lot of really interesting and deep stuff about how women break down and what they're doing on health.
What is? I mean, I feel like there used to be kind of these, what we consider to be traditional dividing lines. Pro-choice, pro-life, for instance. Uh, uh, who is the weighted vest voter? What animates them?
Yeah, so that's why I wasn't looking to make the weighted vest women a political swing entity, but
Hmm.
that's what the data pointed to. So and so it wasn't like I went into this like, oh gosh, how can I update the soccer moms or the Walmart moms? It was just this was a really fascinating cohort to me because they, unlike sort of women overall who are um, leaning Democratic, this group was really evenly divided. So we asked a generic congressional ballot, and they were split evenly on it. Whereas women overall were like, I don't know, plus 11 to the Democrats. So this is a right down the middle group. And my question was, well, is this a Maha group? Are they doing it on their own and they're reject? No, it's not a Maha group because they pay attention to mainstream, sources. They don't think vaccines are dangerous. They are split between Democrats and Republicans, but they're highly attuned to modern sources of information. And that is like a majority of them listen, overwhelming 60 some percent listen to podcasts, like probably you, Tom, which could be how they're getting all of their information. Hello to the weighted vest moms who are listening to podcasts. But and they, but they also like say that they follow mainstream media. So it's not like these are the women are going down some fringe rabbit holes. They are paying attention. They are highly closely follow politics, but they're divided. And to me, that's a really fascinating group. So to me, this is a subset of the key suburban women's swing vote. And what I like about this is in the past, we've defined these women by behaviors that affect that sort of define their role in the family, like soccer mom. They are a mom of somebody who plays soccer, or Walmart mom. They're there shopping for their families. But this is a weighted vest mom. She's doing this for herself. And what can we learn about that?
Oh, okay. So what did they, we're talking like it's an alien, life form here.
I mean, are you seeing, wait, let me ask you, are you seeing
Yes.
women walking around with weighted vests, Tom, in your life?
Not around here. So I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland. So I would say more in places like Bethesda. When I go boxing, I see it at my gym routinely. Which I have to tell you, maybe when I drop some weight, I'll start wearing a weighted vest myself. It helps.
That's for men. I think it's called rucking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a macho thing. Like actually, Joe Rogan does this.
What?
He's a big proponent of a weighted vest, but for men, it's like called rucking.
Rucking? Okay, this is.
I know all the things you can learn today.
I'll tell you, no joke. Like literally, like I mean, I'll go boxing, a couple times a week, and I love it. And I will try to do the like the 5 pound weights. Like to me, right? That's like lightweight. However, when you're holding it and throwing a punch, you get worn out real fast.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Like it's like right up here in your shoulders, like you'd be shocked how much I'm always winded at the end of it, but even faster with these things, just little ones,
Yeah. I mean, there's a real health benefit to wearing. I mean, I'm looking at them through a sort of cultural and political lens, but there's a real health benefit to like sticking some weight on. I mean, not carrying weight per se, but like adding some weight to a workout. Yeah.
I was shocked. One of the girls up at the gym, she's like probably late 40s. All right, mom. I don't know her politics. I suspect she's probably a swing voter. I haven't done an anecdotal survey of this. Wears the weight vest every time, and just that it's like only like 12 pounds or something. It's not a lot.
Yeah. You're not you're like supposed to start at like 3 to 5% of your body weight or something.
Oh.
I don't actually have a weighted vest myself, but I bought one for my friend a year ago.
Yeah.
And this is another thing where you have to look at the data and let it tell you what it tells you and not presuppose. Because I thought most of the women wearing weighted vests would be like my age, like perimenopausal, menopausal, because the influencers I follow are all touting the benefits of weighted vests for osteoporosis and like strength in old age, basically.
Oh.
But the survey found that it was actually younger women, Gen Z and millennials, who are wearing it at a higher rate than Gen X or boomers. And honestly, I have this gym that I go to twice a week with my good friend, and she's my age. A woman comes in and she's young. I mean, younger than us, that's for sure. And she had a 25-pound weight vest on. And we're like, are you freaking kidding us? Like, how can you function with that? She goes, oh, well, my boyfriend has a 40-pound weight vest. And she's like, wears it everywhere. And yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that's incredible. Okay, now, does your dog have a weight vest?
No. No, he has a raincoat and a winter coat, though.
Okay. I think,
Mhm.
so I can carry 40 pounds. I can carry my kid around. She's getting to the age right now where I can't really do that as much as I used to, but she's worn out. That's 40 pounds walking
Is
through
she
a
40
theme park.
pounds now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
give or
right up on
take.
the
Yeah,
shoulders. I mean, that
yeah,
there you go.
yeah. Hey, I mean, look, we just had the president and the defense secretary tell us that as a nation, we have
We
too
gotta
many
man
fat
up.
people and we got to man
We
up.
gotta man up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Mm.
how heavy is your dog?
50-ish pounds.
Okay, you need to work up to that.
True that. And he's also squirmy. He's squirmy. That's the
Ah,
big problem. It's not like he's just going to be like, yeah, I'll just I'll be here. But, when my daughter was a baby, we had like a baby Bjorn. They do
oh
different
yeah,
things now, like
yeah.
stings or other things, and we did that for a while.
Yeah, totally. I love that. I mean, it's nicer than these or easier and more healthy than these BMW strollers that they have now, like the
Oh,
Range Rover, a $10,000 stroller, or whatever it is.
wow.
Craziness,
Wow.
right? I saw there's a Aston Martin stroller. Do you hear about this?
No.
It's
Why? Just why?
right. I
I mean,
know.
why?
Like, when we had my ex and I, we had Alessandra when she was little. My brother got us a used stroller. It was an Uppa baby, and used that thing cost $300.
Yeah.
And it's an SUV. You take it all over the place. It was incredible.
Yeah. I
It's
had a baby jogger and then I had a cheap little Graco stroller, but
yeah,
that was a long time ago.
yeah, right.
People
And
have upped their
now
game, I guess.
we were listening to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me in the car, driving back from the boxing gym actually a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about this Aston Martin stroller, and they were doing like the 007 shtick with the ejector seat and whatnot. And Alessandra was asking me about that. She's like, what's this? I was like, oh, it's just like if the baby is a spy, all right, hit the button, it shoots off into space, all right.
I mean, like, yeah. My gosh, that's so funny.
So okay, what will this do to the midterms? I mean, I think that's what we're all wondering, right? It's like, so, like, what will this actually do? I mean, how's this go, or does it change anything? Maybe they don't change anything.
Well, I don't know enough about them yet. So I want
Hmm.
to hold that out and say, because the survey that I did of National Survey of Women, I was really focused on health and wellness attitudes. I wasn't focused on like their attitudes on economics or immigration or abortion or any of those things. So I feel like what I'm interested in doing is following this group. Now, obviously, it's a dynamic group. Anybody could buy a weighted vest at any point. So it's not like they're just a fixed group, but they are. I would say, sort of early adopters. So somebody who wears a weighted vest um, between now and the midterms is I think going to share some of the behaviors with some of the women already in this group. But so I don't know enough about them yet to say
Okay.
how they're going to impact. I guess I sort of, did this survey and I identified this group, which is a subset of all suburban women. And they're not all white, by the way, which is
Hmm.
really important. So everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, white college educated women. Well, that's not who this is necessarily.
Oh.
As you know, I mean, we all live in, we live in the suburbs. I mean, it's not just white women anymore. It's everybody.
Yeah.
So I need to understand more about them. But I think stepping back and thinking about what could influence the midterms is how is this DIY health era, particularly that women have embraced, going to impact our politics and our parties? Like,
Hmm.
Democrats had Dr. Fauci and the embrace of Dr. Fauci and the COVID, backlash, if you will. And part of there's a big chunk of women who like what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing. But, then there's Florida, who's like, we don't need any vaccines at all. And so where are we going with this? This is a really important area for us to focus. So everyone's like looking at inflation and economic measurements, which of course is going to be huge for the election. It'll be the dominant thing. But there's also this idea that we either should have complete medical freedom without authorities telling us anything that we have to do, whether it's getting a vaccine or whatever, or not. And it is going to impact our politics. And I think we're just sort of beginning to see how this is going to be impacting our politics. We're in the post-COVID pandemic era, and that had a huge impact on our society. Yeah. And now we're in a DIY health era, particularly for women. And if one party is seen as defending institutions, behaviors that are not credible or unpopular, what does that mean? Or if the other side goes into wacky land, right? And, you have measles outbreaks and you have, all sorts of things going on. Where does that leave us? And that's why I like this weighted vest women. They're not one or the other at this moment. So where they go could be a very interesting tell for me.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So like not ivermectin, but not 100% Fauci ouchie.
You mean this women or?
Yeah. The weight vest folks.
Oh, they're definitely not ivermectin. Like I said, they believe in vaccines. They believe in vaccines, but so I would call them, I see myself in some of them, which is like, I absolutely believe in, vaccines and I trust my doctor, but I'm also going to do my own research and I'm going to make changes based on what and if a doctor recommends something that I don't think works for my family, I won't do it, kind of thing. But they're not down misinformation rabbit holes.
Okay.
So they're reachable. And because I feel like, the folks who've gone down misinformation rabbit holes are just not reachable.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. I was at an event a couple of years ago with America's newest favorite pundit, Jack Posobiec. And speaking of rabbit holes and, adjusting and trying to, have people, trying to have their finger on the pulse, and literally stood next to this guy while he explained that he was never QAnon. He doesn't even know what QAnon is, and he doesn't understand why all these people keep talking about it. So I was like, what? I was like, dude, like the only reason you're here is because you're the progenitor of QAnon, pre-QAnon, right? The Pizzagate conspiracy period of things. I'm just like, come on, man, like, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pitch another thing that we're doing, Tom.
Yeah.
So this is something that we've started doing, my partner and I, pretty much since the beginning of the year. So we do all the traditional public opinion research, the polls, the focus groups, that sort of thing. We've started, though, figuring out that many of our clients, so we work on a lot of issue and advocacy things for clients who don't understand conservatives like at all. And one thing that they don't understand is that a huge swath of America is not like reading the New York Times and, watching MSNBC or whatever. And that podcasts are becoming an increasingly important source of information. So and what happens is progressives in particular don't understand how things are being talked about in the conservative, like, echo chamber. And a lot of that arises from these podcasts, right? We've put together a database of like 100, 150 podcasts that are influential to audiences that are sort of either non-political, conservative, lean right. Like Joe Rogan's on there, and you don't say, well, like, Joe Rogan's a Republican per se, but he's so influential. So, but so are some of these female wellness influencers like the Food Babe or whatever. So we have all these
Oh,
genres of podcasts. And like if a client will say to us, like, I don't know, I wonder how people are talking about seed oils, or how are people talking about Medicaid cuts or whatever. We analyze what's being said across all these podcasts
oh,
and sort of give a report to them. So it's not, I mean,
oh,
it's like doing qualitative research, except it's among
yeah.
like podcasts and like what's being said.
Oh, interesting. Okay, who? Okay, so who should? I mean, do you listen to 100 shows at once? Like,
Yeah,
the
I
hive
mean,
mind?
my partner does this. So we
Okay.
have, what we do is we figure out like whatever their topic is.
Hmm.
One of the topics that we may be working on is on like selling public lands, or using public, whatever it was Mike Lee
Oh,
proposed. What was that?
yeah.
It's like
Oh,
selling public
yeah.
lands. Yeah, for housing,
Yes. Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, Utah,
right?
isn't it like 70% federal land out
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he had, and it was a pretty unpopular idea because even his fellow Republicans were like,
Oh,
dude, this is not going to fly. So I think that was one of the topics that we might have been approached to listen for. So, well, what's interesting is like, what's the conservative talking point for not selling off public lands, right?
hmm.
So we're not going to listen to, like, in our database, we're not going to go to like the Food Babe web podcast per se, but we'll do a big search and we'll figure out where this topic has popped up in the last sort of 3 to 4, 6 months, something like that.
Hmm.
And then we'll either listen, I say we, but not me, but my partner, listen, or pull a transcript. And then, it's a lot of actual labor, and that's,
Yeah.
but we're not afraid of that. And we like it, actually. And so it's a really interesting new area that we're sort of offering to our
Oh,
clients.
right. Okay. So who are like the top folks for understanding this? I have to be honest. I've never heard of the Food Babe before. Who?
Right. Yeah, I don't have my database in front of me, but we have like 4 or 5 different categories or genres. We have um male lifestyle, and like male lifestyle. So that
Hmm.
might be like a Joe Rogan or a Theo Vaughn. But then there's also people who aren't as well known that I can't think of off the top of my head. Then there's like your traditional political right wing people, like,
Hmm.
unfortunately, sadly, we had Charlie Kirk on our list. But like Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly. Then we
Okay.
have comedians,
Hmm.
sports and comedians, because even though you might not that's the whole key. Like, people aren't always listening for politics, but
Hmm.
how they perceive issues that then filter into their political behavior can come from like just banter on a sports podcast or a comedian,
Yeah.
right? So we have those. And then we have female health and wellness. And that's a really big one. There's lots of female influencers, from the Food Babe to Jillian Michaels to,
Oh.
I forget. I don't remember all of them. Um, and then there's TikTok, which is a whole nother thing. All these influencers on TikTok are telling young women, like, don't take birth control because it's not safe and it'll mess up your hormones. And so there's lots of things being said there. We're not undertaking TikTok. We're just doing
Yeah.
podcasts. But anyway, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so should we start selling health food here? Should we start, selling vitamins, vitamin supplements? Is that
Who's
make
your
sense?
audience, Tom? Tell me who's your audience for this
Oh,
show.
um,
Who do you think it
most
is?
I know a 24 site. I actually have done an audience analysis
Oh,
recently. Yeah, big boy independent news journalist here. Turns out a lot of folks in the DMV, upper middle class, professors, policy folks, lawmakers, White House current and former, a lot of diplomats, actually, a lot of state people. Shocked, I tell you, to find that out, that they're interested in learning what's
well,
going
then you
on.
need to pitch ads on your podcast to quote unquote opinion leaders, right?
Yes. Yes, totally. Well, I
If
will
you
get
have an
to this.
opinion
Yes.
leader audience, then there's lots of, instead of buying a TV ad on, local cable, Congress Bill 442, tell your member of Congress not to vote for whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Should-
Oh, okay. Now, how do I do this without falling down the crypto rabbit hole? Because they seem to be the only ones that spend money. And I have to be honest, I'm more than a little skeptical of all of it, even though they seem to control everything these days.
Oh, crypto? I know nothing
Yes.
about crypto. You can't talk to me about, I don't know anything about that.
Good.
But you mean like ads? You mean like,
Yeah. Yeah,
so only crypto bros are buying ads? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, a lot of them, a lot of them. I'm shocked by this. I mean, I read the Topless playbook now to see who the sponsors are. I look at Punch Bowl and whatnot, and there's a new one. God, what's her name? It's Kristen Smith, I think, is the head of this group. It's like a crypto alliance, but I mean, there's a million crypto alliances these days. Hell, the Winklevoss twins are running everything,
Yeah,
it
I saw
seems.
that. I don't I don't know. I just have remained willfully ignorant about crypto. I just don't even wanna go there.
have I have I told you about the blockchain? Do you have 3 hours
Yeah,
to
no, thank you.
waste?
No. I'm just gonna, like, do my money the old-fashioned way.
I
Just try and
know.
make more of it. That's just what I'm trying to do.
Guys, if you want to support independent journalism, don't send me any crypto. Money,
New
dollars.
money.
All
Yes.
right. I'm not so hardcore that I'm like one of these gold standard people. All right. But there does need to be some rooting in reality. All right.
I know, right? I don't even understand it. I don't want to. Mhm.
Well, what do you think? What do you think? Okay, we have the shutdown. We're what is this? Day 2 of the
2.
shutdown right
Yeah.
now. How do you think that's going to play? How's that? How does that hit with these folks? Like who do you think is winning, so to say, in this, or maybe nobody's winning?
Well, I'm gonna look at it in a situation where we actually will have some data in just over a month, and that's the Virginia
Hmm.
gubernatorial election, right?
Yes.
I think we're going to have a sense of. I mean, first of all, Virginia has, particularly where I live, so many federal employees, right?
Hmm.
And we've got a Republican governor in Glenn Youngkin who can't run again. So his lieutenant governor, Winsome Sears, is running, I don't know, a campaign that is not orthodox per se, facing Democrat Abigail Spanberger, a very, mainstream, bipartisan, sort of award-winning, member of Congress. And I think she would have been favored anyway. But I think we'll know how strong the feeling is about this government shutdown with how strongly the Democratic ticket does in Virginia,
Oh,
including the attorney general's race, which is really has become a little interesting in the past few days. The Republican mainstream establishment seems to have given up on Winsome Sears for governor and has focused on defending, I think it's Jason Miyares. I don't know how you say
yeah,
it.
right.
How do you say it?
Yeah, yeah.
Maya,
Miaras.
Whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And like they want, we also just got the news that the Democrat Attorney General candidate Jay Jones just got he had a speeding ticket for like going for like 116 miles in like a I
Oh,
don't know 60-70 zone thing. So that's going to be the next big buy. But if Jay Jones is able to overcome that, if he's able to overcome the spend against him, and it's a big Democratic victory, from top to
hmm.
bottom, I think that'll be some indication how I know that this seems a little circuitous, Tom, about
Yeah,
the shutdown, but I mean, maybe some indication. Because here's the thing: the midterm's not until like a whole year, more than a year.
yeah.
I think we're looking at it now, and we're in the midst of it, but I don't really think it's going to have anything to do with how the midterm goes. Quite frankly,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah,
this is what I mean. I mean, like, who do you blame? Republicans, Democrats? Like, I
yeah.
mean, that's so tenuous. It's like
Yeah.
you're going to blame who's the opposite of your party,
Yeah.
basically. And if you're an independent or a low information person, you're not paying any attention to this. And it will have
Yes.
receded from your memory by the time you go to vote a year from now, and you're going to be looking at the price of your
Mm,
groceries or your ability or inability to buy a house.
yeah, totally. I look at it. I instinctively I take photos every time I'm at the Giant now, at the grocery store out here, because coffee is through the roof.
Oh my gosh, I was just thinking that I am in a fortunate situation where I'm not overly conscious of like exact prices I'm paying for everything. But I have an espresso maker,
Mm,
and I buy the Starbucks Nespresso pods, like
okay.
little box
Oh
for
yeah.
my coffee. Okay. So Giant, the grocery store I go to, used to have sales on them. So they'd have the
Yeah.
regular price, but then there'd be like $1 or $2 off, like $6.99. But they
Yeah.
don't have sales on it anymore. And then
Oh,
I actually have been comparing prices. So Giant has them for $8.99. Today at Target it was $9.39, but Safeway, they had them like 10 or 11. And so there's no more sales on my Nespresso pods. Wah wah, poor me, right? I know that's
yeah.
ridiculous. I'm not pretending that I am impacted by grocery prices necessarily, but I have been noticing that about coffee.
Oh, well, I mean, look, I think we're all I think about it. I mean, hell, it's, $12 a bag full freight, for just one of the little, 16-ounce things of Starbucks,
What's your
not the big
brand?
one.
Can you say what your brand is?
Oh, Starbucks all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Dark
Okay,
roast,
so at the
yeah,
grocery
all the
store,
time.
right?
Yeah.
You the
Dark
grocery store.
roast dripped, if I can't find the beans, I'll go with the ground, and I'll regrind it, all right, to unlock that flavor,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then drink all 12 cups, all right? I fill that thing to the brim.
Um, wait, so has the price of the beans gone up recently for
Yeah.
you? Like, since
Yes.
when? Since,
Oh,
like, 6
I mean,
months?
I started noticing it maybe 2 months ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, and I don't know if this was anticipatory of the tariffs. Um, I can still get, periodically, and now I buy, like, a couple bags at a time because I never know when it's gonna be, like, $20. Um, I it will go like, you get it on sale for a couple dollars off, right? Like, so 7 or $8 a bag, but I used to be able to get them for, like, 4 and $5 up here when they were on sale, all right? Standard was around $8 for full freight.
Fairly
So,
recently is what you're saying, fairly
yeah, I
recently.
would say last year,
Yeah,
and it started creeping up this year, and at some point, there's a Safeway. It's funny with the Safeway. I don't for the lo for I don't understand Safeway.
I
Like, I
don't like
love
Safeway.
yeah, I know. It's,
That's not where I usually go, but I
yeah.
was there the other day, and so I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna look at the price of this." And it was like 10 or $11.
Yes.
Definitely not going,
Insane, insane. It's, yeah, Safeway is the backup, all right? Like,
for
I
sure.
I don't know why they're always a little bit more expensive. They never have any of the hand baskets, all right? Like, you gotta get, like, a full cart, all right? And then you're playing bumper carts with everybody else.
Yeah, and honestly, the Safeway by my house, it's sort of fraught because, like, you're
Mm.
inevitably gonna see somebody that you really don't wanna see, and I don't prefer it anyway. I prefer the Giant, and then but I also go to my organic market, and I also go to Whole Foods and some,
Oh, I love Mom's. Mom's is
yeah,
great.
Mom's is the best.
Yes. Oh, so good. I had Tom Hartman on the program a week ago, and super lefty, right? And I'm just very fascinated by this because like he is like a hippie who stayed hippie. All right, never
Yeah.
changed. And he used to have he built an herbal tea company in Michigan back in the 70s, and I'm flummoxed by all this because, I used to work in health food stores when I was in high school and in college back
Oh,
in the day. Yeah, yeah, totally. And, it's like, so I see all this RFK Jr. stuff and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, you guys are aligned with the oil companies now? It was like, what happened? This is craziness to me. It is I can't wrap my head around it. How folks that, come out of the world of Whole Foods and then, land in the Trump coalition. That blows
okay.
my mind.
You know what? This is a perfect transition because my organic market is a perfect mixing pot of what we're seeing about there between Maha moms and like liberal, progressive, hippie types. And I literally experienced this in my own moms. And this is why this is why it matters
Oh.
to like be a pollster and look at numbers, but also like pay attention to life, right? So
Hmm.
we used to have neighbors. They had 5+ kids and they were anti-vaxxers. They would have like I don't know that anyway, very anti-vax, whatever. But she would shop at mom's,
Hmm.
and so would another woman I know who's also very sort of Trumpy, conservative, whatever, because they didn't like they didn't want the food dye type stuff. But then
Oh.
you run into like your like most progressive person who doesn't also want big pesticides and
Yeah.
Monsanto messing with their food or whatever, and
Yeah.
like they're bumping into each other down the aisles. And
Oh.
on one level it's like kind of nice because like
Hmm.
this is something we can agree on,
Yeah.
but their politics take them in very opposite directions. So
Oh.
again, this is super fascinating to me, and it's along the lines of this DIY health thing that I'm
Oh,
focusing on.
interesting. I love this. Okay, so real quick. Oh my gosh, look at this. We got uh let's get to some questions here.
Do
We
people
got
have questions? Are there
oh, we
people?
do. Yeah, we're live on Substack right now. You know who's in there? Do you remember Lindsay Hake from the State House?
No, remind
From
me
the
about her.
Lindsay Lobby is over there. Actually, I think she's on the oh god, I'm sorry, Lindsay, I'm screwing this up, and I don't have my Substack feed open, so I can't see it. But I think Lindsay just got on the IURC. I think she was just appointed on there recently.
Cool.
And
More
Lindsay
Hoosiers?
does.
Let's have
Yes,
let's have some comments and questions from Hoosiers.
let's go. Okay, so here's
Or
okay.
anybody else. Whoever has questions.
Let's see. Lindsay Hake, love this. This is great. For what it's worth, literally never seen these women except in Carmel.
Well, what's funny? When I brought this story to Adam Wren, he was like, "This is so timely. My wife just said I need to get a weighted vest, and they live in Carmel."
I, right. So we need to do a road show to Carmel. All right. We'll just set up
Yes.
in the middle of one of the
I'm gonna be like
20,000
Frank
roundabouts.
Luntz, and I'll be like walking around, and we'll have all these women who wear weighted vests in Carmel, and they're gonna be telling us about their like politics and their views. Seriously.
Love
But
it.
they're also gonna be wearing their vests, so it's gonna be like healthy.
Every time I'm back there I'll drive up to, I love the library up there. Carmel has the nicest public library in the
Hmm.
entire world. It is an incredible space to work in. It's like it looks like one of these like a modernist style. It's huge, these vaulted ceilings, beautiful. But I'll go drive down Main Street, and it's I mean, look, this is when I was living there a decade ago. Every time I come back, I always do this. I slam on the brakes while I'm driving through downtown because those stupid statues of
Oh, I
people they
know.
got
You think
there.
they're a real person. I
Yeah, I'm like,
I
oh.
brought my daughter there. She's like, "What the heck? Those are so scary." I actually think they're cute, but yeah.
I like it. They always get me. All
Yeah.
right.
I know, like the man with the hat and,
I,
I know.
I know, like they look like they're jumping out in traffic. I
I
was like,
know.
what the for guys
Well,
for
then
if
and
you
then you're having to navigate all the roundabouts, plus the statues that look like real people, so it's like you have to take some Advil after you've driven in Carmel.
for folks who are not from Indiana, and apologies for us nerding out about this. Carmel is the fancy place up there. All
Fancy.
right, so it's the fancy suburb north of Indianapolis. And what's the equivalent? I guess like Brookline, outside of
Westchester
Boston.
County, New York,
Yeah,
Lake Forest, Illinois.
yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So and a world apart, I would note. I mean, almost separate from anywhere else in Indiana.
Zionsville also is becoming
Hmm,
Carmel-like, but
interesting.
I
Yeah, that's
think
right. Pence lives up there, like right on the line between Carmel and I think it's Boone County, like right on the line. Like I think technically it's Carmel, but because God love him, because he's Pence, he says he lives in Zionsville. It's
On
like,
a farm next to a cornfield, which may be true, actually, which actually could be true.
it's incredible.
That's a
It's,
joke from, isn't that from your book, Tom? Yeah,
I
right.
still,
So that,
I still have. I mean, this is how obsessive. I actually, I still am obsessive about this, but like it doesn't sell. So, I usually keep this to myself. I would love to get his radio tapes from the 90s. That to me would be incredible. I think we need those anyway. I still have some of the corn tassel from the backyard of his boyhood home in Columbus, Indiana. I picked it up when I was out there when I was doing the reporting on it, and I kept it in my bag like a talisman almost. And
interesting.
yeah, it was fascinating. Actually, when I was doing the research on it, what was so interesting of it, his family was so upwardly mobile. All right, like the epitome of the American dream. They kept moving. They started out in company housing, the Cummins company housing, and it, like just these little boxy row home type things. All right, and then that second house they moved into was that rancher. And eventually they ended up in a real nice place in the 80s. And of course, is it is it Teresa and Annie are the two youngest. All right, so there's six Pence siblings altogether, and they were living in a really nice place. But that rancher, what was fascinating about it was that because he used to do this, and for folks who don't, if you were not a Pence obsessive, which I understand, no knock, all right. He used to do this little bit where he'd say, he says, "Well, I'm just a boy who grew up in a small town in southern Indiana with a cornfield in my backyard."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, it's Columbus. And if you're
Right.
not from Indiana, Columbus is nice. All right.
Urban.
Columbus, yes.
Urban.
Yes. It is incredible. It is beautiful architecture.
Architecture. Right.
Yes. Who is it? It's the same people that did Dulles. And don't blame them. Don't blame them for Dulles. All right. That's, it's,
Yeah.
um, uh, and he would say this, and I was shocked when I saw this house, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's a cornfield." It's because they were moving into each new suburb, growing into the cornfields.
Right. I
It's
mean, that's how I grew up too in Coconut.
mm,
Like I lived in a subdivision, but it was entirely surrounded by cornfields. So I wasn't a
oh,
farm girl. My parents weren't farmers, but
oh.
literally, like, I could go to the edge of our subdivision, crawl over the fence, and be in the cornfield. I mean, right? And then to come down the road, you've got cornfields on either side. So I could
Oh,
say that I'm just a small town girl who grew up amidst the cornfield.
it's
But
you,
I also grew up in a subdivision, which is very different than just being like a farmhouse in the middle of a cornfield,
yes.
even though we were in the middle of a cornfield. That's just the nature of land in Indiana. It's the nature of how it
Yes.
goes. Yeah.
I was shocked, for the first time I ever drove out there on I-70. And because I grew up out here, and I'm a coastal elite, capital E. Uh, uh, I was shocked at how flat everything became once you got past Columbus, Ohio, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can see for miles. Like,
My daughter, who was born here in Alexandria, Virginia, when
Hmm.
we go back to Indiana, she says the same. She just cannot believe how flat it is. And I guess like I never thought about it really,
Hmm.
honestly, growing up.
Yeah. I used to bike the Monon, and which is great. I would take it from
Great
downtown all the way
trail.
up to Westfield. Love doing it, and then when my ex and I we moved back here to DC, I tried doing that here. It was a lot harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Right.
really struggled. I really.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, anyway, my neighborhood has a lot of hills. And so it's same thing with biking. It's like, you got to be careful. Like if you, like I have these side bags on my bike, like
Oh
you don't
yeah.
load them up too heavy because you got to like haul your butt up the hill.
Yes, I know, it's craziness. Here's James Hatch joined recently. Keep up the great work, Tom. My medbed appointment is at 2. I'll report back. Awesome. Dude, send me one.
Yeah.
All right, look how we get.
I get to use they're supposed to be good for anti-aging too, but also diseases and everything. I could use an anti-aging med bed.
Exactly.
Whatever. I mean, if you're going to make it up, you might as well make it up good.
I know. Can we get med beds on Mars?
Right.
Here's lefty prop. The group is us. It's up to us. Our electeds can't be relied on. Hey, you know what? Amen. I'm with you on that. You know, leadership starts at home. It really does. You know,
Yeah.
wherever you are. All right. If you're one of these Nick Fuentes people, maybe skip the leadership. Okay, sorry. But for everybody else, Lindsay Hake extends miles through a lot of areas. Carmel, this is the rucking in weighted vest, not seen on the Indy Monon, seen on the Carmel Monon. Oh, that's interesting. I know, right? Exactly.
Oh, so there's like that Marion County, Hamilton County divide.
Yeah.
Like if you're north of Marion County, you're in the Hamilton County part of the Monon, you're wearing the weighted vest. If you aren't, super interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
Love Lindsay. She's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Lefty Prop says, where do you put Ezra Klein? I don't know what the hell Ezra Klein's doing right now. He really got shaken up by his Charlie Kirk thing. He hasn't seemed to have found his footing since then.
I know he's a smart guy. I don't really listen to him, so I don't really. I mean, I sometimes read some stuff, but I don't know what's up with him.
I don't know.
He's getting a lot of hammering from the left, right? Because on his abundance thing, yeah.
Yeah, and what's the Ta-Nehisi Coates interview that he did recently?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, this is I fall into this. All right, when I'm not doing good interviews and real interviews with people that actually know what they're talking about, I should probably be shilling more often and bringing on these new influencers like Jack Posobiec. All right, what is a QAnon Posobiec?
Yeah, right.
I need to take a cue here. And let's see, Lefty Prop says people are hurting already here in Virginia. He says we're talking about Virginia. We got to do more on that because early voting has been underway for a couple of weeks now. All right. Yeah. What the hell is up with the guy that's running for a lieutenant governor down there?
Okay, here's what I don't know. Here's what I don't understand. I know what a Nazi is. I know what porn is. But what is Nazi porn? I'm like Rosanna Dana. I don't know what Nazi porn is. I really do not. And I don't think I want you to tell me, Tom. But it's like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Look, I cover a lot of crap. Okay, like covering politics these days involves dealing with Mecha Hitler on the regular. All right, like Pee Wee German, Stephen Miller, and these people. Okay, guys, right? Like we just had a murder of a major political figure, which is seemingly tied to furries. Okay, now now the guy who might become the next lieutenant governor.
No,
right? There's a possibility. No, he's not.
No.
Okay, all right.
That's not happening. But
okay, so okay, well that's good because I don't want to have to like write about Nazi porn.
I'm not even gonna click. Because all I know is that the other shoe dropped, right? So that they've been waiting for this other shoe on this John Reed, right?
Yeah.
So he is the guy is the Republican running for lieutenant governor, but also he was the guy that the current governor, Glenn Youngkin, tried to keep from getting the nomination, right? Like, so like everybody maybe knew that there was stuff in this background.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but so I don't know what this whole Nazi porn. I don't know.
What? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to click. I'm just not.
The only salvation would be if you get Rick rolled. All right, you like click on the Nazi porn and that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't. Oh my gosh.
And this part of this part of the show, and I know from the algorithms, will never make it to TikTok. You're not allowed to talk about that stuff. You know that? Like, there's so much you can't
No.
talk about on
Oh, you
TikTok.
mean like the word like Nazi and porn is blocked on
Yeah,
TikTok? Oh,
yeah, yeah.
is China doing that, or who's doing that?
China,
China?
soon to be Lachlan Murdoch,
Well,
and
is he gonna
whoever the
let
other.
that go then?
I don't. Yeah, that's a great question.
That is a good question.
You
But
know.
I wanna talk on a more serious note about
Yeah.
Virginia, though,
Hmm.
which, Abigail Spanberger, I think is, one can assume will be elected governor, and
Okay.
I'm actually very happy about that. I think
Hmm.
she is one of my favorite elected officials, bar none, across the
Oh,
board. Uh,
okay.
I think she's in it for the right reasons.
Hmm.
She has good government, bipartisan instincts.
Hmm.
She's a good person, and she tries to help people. I
Hmm.
like her a lot. I've given
Hmm.
her money, and I'm not afraid to say
Hey.
that. Um, but what she's worried about, and she said this at one of her fundraising events, is that she's going to get a Republican attorney general who is then going to fight her tooth and nail and everything, or he'll be the Republican attorney general that's going to try and get the state to sign on to some of
Oh.
these Todd Rokita like, far right cultural warrior, lawsuits,
Hmm.
and so it would be really not productive to have
Interesting.
that happen, I think.
Do you think? Let me ask you this, and folks, Chris is down in Alexandria, right? So this is her home turf, right? She's
Yeah.
and you've been down there for a while, so this world. I'm on the other side of the Potomac. Most people from Baltimore, let alone Montgomery County and Prince George's County, Maryland, we don't cross that water. All right, that's like crossing the River
We don't
Styx.
like Maryland drivers, so I'm glad you don't. Maryland drivers are the worst. They really are. They're
We
rude.
are.
They're
We
rude.
are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
it's true. We're like one step below massholes. Okay.
Truly. Truly. So you just stay over there. And I won't come over
Although
there either.
not as bad as California drivers. I don't get it. Like I don't like. There's no method to the madness. It's just
I don't
madness.
really encounter California drivers. I don't really drive
They
there or go there
that's
much.
Florida tags give me a lot of problems these days.
What's interesting though? Sometimes they're military people because you don't have to
Hmm,
pay. I don't know if it's you don't pay a car
hmm,
tax or you don't pay some sort of tax, but several of my military neighbors
hmm.
who have had a deployment in Florida for a couple of years, but not recently, still have Florida tags because financially it's beneficial.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh,
Hopefully that's not
look
illegal.
at this. Hell, maybe I'll go get some Florida tags.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to get, but I don't want to get like my car egged and people getting the wrong idea.
There goes Florida man.
That's oh, interesting. This is Jason Miyares. Okay, so all right, Chris, we're gonna wrap this up here because uh, uh, we're gonna wrap it up. But I want to make sure that folks, where can we find you? Where can everybody go get the latest from you?
So my company is Bellwether Research, and I
Mhm.
know how to spell it, but a lot of people try and correct the spelling and make it like Bellwether, Weather, but that's not how
Oh,
Bellwether's spelled.
that's
So if
right.
you're looking for it, it's thank you for that scroll. Bellwether,
Ian Walters.
Bellwether -research.com. That's my website. It's got contact information, my email, and anything. Be happy to chat.
Hell yeah. This is yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good. Chris, guys, check out Christine Matthews. All right. And maybe what we should do is we should have the Chris Matthews weighted vest rucking summit coming to a roundabout in Carmel. All right.
We'll have a race around a roundabout with a weighted vest, like 7 laps. Who can complete it the fastest, holding like a high level Starbucks Frappuccino pumpkin spice drink in their hand.
the running of the pumpkin spice.
Yes,
And
I
James
would sponsor that.
James Hatch, please bring med beds. We're
We'll need them.
Chris, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being
It's so
here.
good to see you.
See you.
See ya.
All right, guys. Check out check out Chris Matthews, longtime friend. She's so good. I can't tell you enough about how much Chris, her ability to just put her finger on the pulse, all right, and so that we understand what's going on. And that's a big part of the reason I do this here at Tom LoBianco Reports. It's why I do 24 site news. It's why I do reporting, all right, so that we understand what's going on. This is the opposite of a sombrero Mexican hat tweet, all right, from the White House. I, I am still flummoxed by this. It is the dead opposite of Nazi porn, and I don't want to know, or I want to know about it. I just flummoxed by this. We're going to have to do a Virginia show because we are coming up on the elections pretty soon. There, just under a little bit over a month from now. Guys, before I head out, number one, I want to say thank you. Thanks everybody for being here. Really, it's love and thanks, Lindsay. Love seeing you, Lefty Prof, James Hatch with my med beds. I need one of those. Okay. Before we head out, I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors. All right, guys. So to do this, I need your support. All right, to do this. All right, this is a community effort. Uh, there is no, ABC, Disney, Bob Iger pressure, or Nexstar, or Sinclair, you name it. All right, thank God the FCC does not put the squeeze on us here. All right, but it takes money to do this. All right, and I need your support to do this. So please get in touch. Head on over to 24site.news. All right, get a paying subscription. Reach out if you'd like to be a sponsor. And if you'd like, if you like what we're doing, you'd like to get in front of the 24 Site News audience, drop a line. It's Tom at 24site.news. It's TOM at 24SIGHT.news. All right. And we'll get you loaded up. We'll work together on an advertising program. I want to say a big thanks to our paying sponsors. Number one, Beth Solomon, author of From Fired to Fabulous. Beth Solomon, former speechwriter for Sam Nunn, used to work in the C-suite. She's done a lot of jobs, a lot of high-level jobs. She's also gotten fired before. All right, look, this happens to all of us. Okay, if you are a federal worker, and we started this ad campaign, really targeting folks that were eliminated by Doge and by the Trump White House and by Elon Musk. All right, and could be happening again. If you are out of work, whatever the reason, check out From Fired to Fabulous. Okay, from Beth Solomon. Beth, it's a manual, it's a handbook, but it's brisk, and it has some good basic advice on how to dust yourself off, get back up, and whether that's getting back into a 9 to 5, getting back on your old career track, or starting your own thing, right? Just like what I'm doing here. Whatever it is. I interviewed Beth for this about a year ago when the book published, and this is right after the election. I don't think any of us could have guessed how relevant it would be, sadly, now in what we're living through. Check out From Fired to Fabulous by Beth Solomon. Big thanks to Manoj Paulson over at projectmanagemymove.com. All right, head on over. So, what is a project management? What does that even mean? I gave Manoj some crap for this. We were talking about this a few months ago. I was like, what is this? What are we even talking about? It's fascinating. I did not know about this. Manoj does real estate. He understands this industry. If it's called a distress sale, all right, and if you have the bad luck of death in the family, divorce, something terrible happens, or maybe you got a new job on the other coast, you need to split town fast, whatever it is, and they call these distress sales, you put the house up on the market. It doesn't always get the value that you want out of it. Okay. And this is important. All right. For most of us normal folks who are not billionaires and we don't have multiple properties, all right, this is our biggest investment. And you want to get the most out of it. So what Manoj does is projectmanagemymove.com. Manoj will actually coordinate the contractors to do the basics, all right, and bring them in, and they're going to do some basic stuff like cleaning up the place, fixing it up a little bit, work on the lighting, you name it, whatever it is. And that has the potential to increase the value of your home, your house, your property, tens of thousands of dollars. Okay. Head on over to projectmanagemymove.com. Tell Manoj I sent you. All right. He'll hook you up, talk with them, learn about this thing. And I want to say a big thanks to Beth, to Manoj, all of our paying supporters at 24site.news. And, if you'd like to head on over, it's $5 a month. That is the cost of one pumpkin spice coffee per month to keep independent journalism alive. All right. Thank you guys for being here. I like to say it is a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you. But more than that, it's our right. It is our fundamental American right. And I'm so honored to be doing that with you, exercising that right every single day. See you guys.